Today on Tricro Studios, we do a high gain amp shootout between the ENGL Fireball 100 and the orange Rockerverb 100 Mark III. I'd like to reiterate here that this is a high gain amp shootout, so you're not going to hear any cleans or any breakups or any soft rock tones. This is just high gain geared towards metal. I'd also like to note that the orange Rockerverb is boosted with an Ibanez TS9 for both sound samples, whereas the ENGL is only boosted for the first sound sample. But I do have two sound samples for you today, the first of which is a somewhat balanced EQ setting in drop C, whereas the second of which is a more scoop type setting in drop B. All right, so there you go. There are the two sound samples for the high gain amp shootout between the ENGL Fireball 100 and the orange Rockerverb 100 Mark III. So it's at this point in the video where I kind of like going over what I've gained from doing a shootout like this, and I knew that I would be a little torn. Both of these amps are fantastic, and I find a lot of the times it's hard to kind of nitpick certain things with each amp. The Fireball 100, it just seems that you can get awesome high gain sounds with every single one of the options. So with the mid boost off and the mid boost on, which the mid boost is on for both, or was on for both sound samples, and the orange Rockerverb 100, boosted with an Ibanez TS9, you can move the EQ to wherever the absolute heck that you want, and it just sounds great. Normally when you start to dime things, EQ-wise, it starts to get either piercing or kind of flubby or just different issues that may come up. However, the orange Rockerverb, I have it at an extremely healthy volume, and I'm able to actually dime the treble and dime the bass, and it sounds awesome. That's not how both of these are done, but it is something that, you know, I'm like, I could use a little bit more high end. Wow, it's not shrill. So what I did think would happen, I thought that the Fireball 100 would have a little more low end to the sound, and the Rockerverb would have a little more high mids to high end in the sound. So I think on the playback and everything while I was editing, I did kind of hear that, but it wasn't one of those things where I thought like, oh, clearly this one sounds better than this one. I thought both of them sounded awesome. Obviously, you can make them sound better with different settings or what have you. But I thought both of them sounded awesome, and it was kind of easy to say, you know, I could choose this one or I could choose this one and be extremely happy. And as far as the choice of boosting with an Ibanez TS9, personally I feel that the orange Rockerverb really needs it to get into high gain territory. Otherwise, it is a great rock amp. Rockerverb, awesome reverb as well. But just with an Ibanez TS9 or just your whatever you want to use to boost, or really push it over the edge and allow it to get a lot of great attack, and it'll actually help the low end as well be a little more balanced. And I just find that boosting it just works really well. The Fireball 100, you don't have to boost it. However, when you're using that mid boost, you can bring in a little more low end without it being overtaking if you're using a TS9 in the boost setting. I don't really like using a boost if I'm doing a scoop type sound. Not that I would normally, you know, use a scoop type sound, but I find that it's a little more beneficial when there's a little more mid-range in the sound to use a boost. But yeah, I mean, that's just, boosting is all personal taste for a lot of amps. Some amps like the JCM 800, JCM 900, Rockerverb, it just works really well when you're boosting it. But anyway, that's really all I've got to say here. Very, 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 very fortunate to own both of these amps, and of course all the gear that I do own. And yeah, thanks for watching.